Alright, so in this video we're going to be covering the hip sleeper contract relax method, just a basic version of the pails and rails we can use in order to open up range of motion and strengthen range of motion for hip internal rotation here. So what we're going to need is something to sit up on just to allow us to sit up in a more upright position, as well as potentially a stretching strap or a towel, something we can use to help create some resistance with. You can also use your hand, but I find it's a little bit easier with the strap here. So first thing I want to do is set up in that hip sleeper position, so a bear sit. So I want to be nice and tall, upright with my chest. I'm going to try and pull my knees in as far as I can while keeping the heel in front of the knee. So I want to see these straight shins here, and they're going to be parallel to one another. Now, if I'm working on my left hip, what I'm going to do is the right side stays somewhat relaxed here, and we're going to first take a towel or a stretching strap, and what we're going to do is just place that above the knee so I can have basically something to anchor onto and hold on to, and so when I'm doing my contractions and pulls and pushes, I have something to create resistance with. Now, before we start the first contraction, what we're going to do is we're going to find our passive end range first. So you can just sort of either use that hand to help support, find as much rotation as you can of that hip joint here without your whole body turning and lifting off your seat. Chest still stays in that square position, nice and upright. Now, for contract relaxes, what I'm going to first do is the first contraction, we're going to try and think about opening that hip joint. But because I want there to be resistance, as I'm pushing out, I'm matching that resistance by pulling with this hand. So you can see, although I'm pulling in this direction, there's no movement happening. The hip isn't turning away. So for about 5 seconds there, we're going to create that intention and movement and tension here from the hip. 5 seconds, we relax, and then for 5 seconds, we try to now actively pull a little bit further in towards the direction of the original stretch. Relax, go back into your pull away. 5 seconds there, creating resistance by pulling on that towel or strap. Relax, 5 seconds, pulling actively back towards the center. Now you can see gradually that range of motion does open up. So we're going to do about the prescribed number of reps and sets there. Now, a couple of things to note in this position too is we may sometimes feel the knee if we leave that behind. So just adjust your knee angle here. And again, make sure that as you're pulling, we're not really trying to pull from that knee joint. We're really thinking about actively contracting the hip. So even some of the movement and motion you'll see might not be a lot, but it's going to be key in just helping strengthen the tissue on the inside and the outside of that hip joint, as well as improving that hip internal rotation. After we're usually done something like this, we'll get up, walk around, rest, and then we'll usually follow it up with some cars or something to now glue and save that work we've done in with some hip isolation and exercises there.